So the pituitary gland is also called the hypophysis, and it's this right here. That's from the front. This is from the side, and then this is a microscopic view of the pituitary gland. The infundibulum is this little tube that connects the pituitary to the hypothalamus.
For the
So here.
just to cut you off, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
For the test, are you going to show these pictures or?
Yeah, it'll be this chart. This
Okay.
chart right here. So pituitary gland, infundibulum, right there. In the infundibulum, there are capillaries and there are axons, and you can't see them, so they would be a question that I would ask. The hypophyseal portal system are the capillaries in the infundibulum, and the hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract are the axons that are in the infundibulum. So capillaries are the portal system, and the tract are the axons. Now, the adenohypophysis, that's the anterior part of the pituitary, and there's actually two lobes in it, an anterior lobe and an intermediate lobe. On these two views, you can only just see the anterior lobe, really, so that would be the adenohypophysis. This also would be the adenohypophysis. Here, you can see the adenohypophysis with the anterior lobe as the orange, and the intermediate lobe as this kind of purple area. But all of it is the adenohypophysis with the anterior lobe and the intermediate lobe. The neurohypophysis is the posterior lobe, and it's this yellow with the little kind of purple neurons in it back here. Or you can see it here or there. The pineal gland, that's back here. It's number 4. Do you guys remember that from AP1? Pineal gland. And then the thymus, that's a gland that's right over your sternum. It's this kind of orange, blobby area right here. There's a number 48 on it.
It's above the sternum, you said?
Yeah, like right on top of it. Your adrenal glands are right on top of your kidneys. Here's your kidney. There's the adrenal gland. Over here, the adrenal gland by itself. And then down here, the adrenal gland in the microscopic view. Here you can see this kind of brown outer shell. That's called the cortex. And this kind of grayish inside is the medulla. And anytime you're talking about an organ, the cortex is the outside part of it, and the deep inside part is the medulla. Now in the microscopic view, here's the medulla. It's this pink part at the top, and you can see the chromatin cells in the medulla. So they're the cells in the medulla of the adrenal glands. And then all this down here is the cortex. Now this, ignore that, that's just connective tissue that surrounds the adrenal glands. But the first zone or area of the cortex is a zona glomerulosa, and it's this really skinny region right here. And you can see the cells are really densely packed. So that's the zona glomerulosa. And then the zona fasciculata, unfortunately, is the same color, but the cells aren't as densely packed. It's really broad. It's this real thick area. So I'll be really careful to point to the zona glomerulosa just as this thin stripe down here, and the zona fasciculata would be this really big one up here, so you can really differentiate between it. And then the zona reticularis is this darker brown color.
Yes.
Okay, now for your pancreas.
Which one is the chromatin cells?
The chromatin cells are these guys.
The big white ones?
Mm-hmm. Yep. The pancreas. Here's the pancreas in the body. They chopped out a piece of it, so you can't really see the whole thing. But here it is, being an entire pancreas right there. Here it is microscopically. The pancreatic islet, or the islet of Langerhans, is this peach circle in the middle. And ignore alpha and beta cells. I won't ask those. Those are cell types in those islets, but there's actually 4 different cell types, so I'm not sure why they only have 2 listed there, so we're just going to ignore all of them. We're going to ignore 2, we might as well ignore them all. So just the islet, and then the acini are the purple ones that look like berries all around.
What are those?
The acini. The thyroid gland is in your neck, right around your Adam's apple, which is called your thyroid cartilage. So that's your thyroid gland. There's two lobes, a right lobe and a left lobe, and they're connected at the bottom by this little piece called the isthmus. So it's like the isthmus is the bottom of the U shape. So right lobe, isthmus, left lobe. Here's the thyroid gland microscopically. These big purple circles are the follicles, and the purple cells that make up the follicle are called the follicular cells. And then the fluid inside is filled with a lot of protein, and when you have a protein-filled fluid, you call it colloid. So that's the colloid, is this peach. And then your C cells are all these little purple cells that are outside of the follicle. All right, the parathyroid glands, if you look over here, they're really tiny, so you're going to have a hard time seeing them unless you get right up on here. But this is a back view of the thyroid gland. So the parathyroid glands, there's actually 4 of them, and they're on the back of the lobes of the thyroid gland. But they're number 119 and 111, and they're these little tiny brown dots on the back of the thyroid gland.
119 and 111.
119 and 111. The chief cells are the principal cells. I would ask that as a question. They're the cells that produce parathyroid hormone. And then lastly, the testes. If you see these tubules here, we're not looking at the tubules, we're looking at the cells that are outside of the tubules, like these cells, or these cells, or these ones. And those are called the interstitial cells. Now, as for the ovary, there are ovary pictures on here. I don't like them as much as I like the model, so I'm going to come around and I'll show you the ovary models while you look at this or look at the hearts, and I'll just come around to you table by table.